What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley, and that's the one, the only Scott Savage. Scott, what's going on, buddy?
You know, the other night I was checking out Forza Horizon 2.
What?
And yeah, well, I should probably just go all the way to 5. But it shows your stats, yet you have no achievements.
Who, me? Like me personally?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm like, how does that work? Cutter28 showing up in my world, but...
That's odd. Does it backtrack and stuff?
Maybe, but then...
It pulls from your friends list,
should,
right? But that's...
You should have achievements then.
I would have... no, not necessarily. So what happens is the way Forza Horizon works is they actually just pull from your friends list, regardless of they have the game or not.
Okay.
And just, yeah, they call them drive-atars.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Wow, there's a term for you. So, yeah, it's dude, I love the Horizon series. Forza Horizon is so good. 5 is cool. We'll see where 6 kind of takes us. 3 is still my favorite.
I was getting lost in 2 in France.
Yeah, there you go. Dude, down under. Either way, there's lots of games to talk about where everybody can join us live. Those noon Eastern over on Twitch and YouTube at the official ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Dude, today's show is a cool one. There will be The Last of Us multiplayer details coming later this year, says Neil Druckmann. Epic Games will be paying a ton of money. And we do finally have confirmation that Ghostwire Tokyo is on its way to Xbox.
That's where I'm looking forward to getting onto it.
That's fair. Very fair. Very fair, dude. Let's get into it. We got a lot of stuff over from our friends at PSU. Michael Harden says this to say, The Last of Us multiplayer. Neil Druckmann promises more info later this year. Scott, you said you knew instantly that this was going to be on the show today.
Oh, as soon as I saw this, I thought, yep, you're going to want to speak about it.
That's right. Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann has promised more info on his upcoming The Last of Us multiplayer project later this year, presumably to coincide with the 10th anniversary of the franchise this summer. Dude, 10 years already. Like, holy. Wow. Speaking of...
that just shows you how far behind I am.
Yep. Well, we're going to get you caught up hopefully very soon, Scott. Let's just go with that. Speaking with kind of funny on a spoiler cast for The Last of Us HBO, Druckmann promises that fans will, quote, hear much more about, end quote, its multiplayer Last of Us title later this year. Big news is coming, Scott. And so I often watch the spoiler. I've watched the HBO spoiler cast with kind of funny. So they do this kind of thing where they recap the HBO series. I go and I check it out as I often work on the show, and I'm listening to them in the background. I definitely wanted to tune in to see what Neil was up to and what he was working on next and things along that line. It was very cool to see where his direction is, kind of how it formed and where it's going and what he's doing now. What's his concept and ideas for season 2. But getting back to the multiplayer, like, yo, this isn't even Neil's project. Like, that was one of the biggest takeaways I got from it. Was Neil's now passed this off to the rest of the team to work on, and for them to come up in the ranks and showcase what they have and what they feel they've built and created in the world of The Last of Us for the multiplayer. We know we're getting stories, we're getting content there, like somewhat like single player. Nobody knows officially, but we're guessing co-op single player experience of some sort to tie in with the multiplayer, right? So, dude, there's just more questions than there are answers. The other part of it is that they have announced that they do know what they're working on next. And it's not The Last of Us Part 3, but we don't know what officially it is as of yet. No job listings, no nothing, no details. Dude, everything's really, really scarce right now. The biggest thing for me, makes a lot of sense. We're lining up 10 years this summer. Why not get ready to start dropping news for the multiplayer and keeping that going? And this is what I said too. Now that the HBO show is here and now it's finished, I think they want to keep that conversation going with the Last of Us, right? And how do you do that? They keep us alive with the multiplayer and kind of make it, unfortunately, Scott, for you, a games as service model, right?
Well, it does give them the opportunity to put a lot of narrative in, and that makes sense. This is a whole universe they're building on top of.
Yes. No, it does make a lot of sense. There's a lot to pull from, too, and a lot of side stories. Dude, the amount of characters that they've built that are just off cast of Joel and Ellie, right? Like we can get into a whole thing with Tess. We can get a whole thing of Marlena and just the Fireflies. And then if you pull in Last of Us Part 2, which has like so many other factions within that one too, we can do other content within there that can tie into the multiplayer side of it as well. It just keeps us going, keeps us alive for a year, 2 years. Like when you take a look, dude, one of the best games of service games out there, hands down, besides Fortnite. I don't even want to mention that, but I did. Besides Fortnite, right? Because Epic just does it right. They've got that model figured out.
They figured it out, yeah.
But when I'm talking like single player content and kind of giving you that drip feed of stuff, we just know that Bungie just dropped their latest piece. But I go to the Division 2. They just revealed and just dropped season 11. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Wasn't that's an encore season, I think, too. They were supposed to be done before that.
Yes, they were supposed to be done, wrapped up on season 9. Fans loved what they did so much that they kind of forced their hand, willingly, I'm sure, to some extent, to bring out season 10. And all of a sudden now there's season 11. So that's just another one of those games that keep going. Ubisoft kind of figured out their own little structure. For Honor is another one over there at Ubisoft as well. So when...
Oh, I haven't checked in on that game in years.
I see it all the time that they're dropping... Here, every week, dude, they have a live stream on For Honor and new content updates, bug fixes, this, that, and the other. They are keeping that game alive. And it seems pretty healthy, too. There's a lot. Dude, I tried jumping in the other day. I'm like, yo, I'm so far out of this. And then try to relearn the mechanics of the game. I'm like, not really feeling it to get back into it. But it's such a cool idea and things that I love about it so much. But for Naughty Dog to keep us alive, we also know that Jim Ryan has revealed that they have 10 games of services in development over the next 8 years or something like that, right? So
I think
over the at least
I think
5.
it was to close out the decade, I believe.
Right. So we are getting this live service model now coming in the world of PlayStation. And how do you start that off? Dude, you kick it off with one of the biggest IPs that PlayStation has, and that's The Last of Us. Now we got The Last of Us HBO. We have The Last of Us Part 1, Part 2. Will we get DLC for Part 2? Probably not. I don't think we'll see any DLC. I think we're just going to get the multiplayer side of it and whatever stories they can relate to that. It was funny because listening to Neil, he never officially called it The Last of Us multiplayer. Sorry, he didn't officially call it Factions too, where the first multiplayer was called Factions. He wouldn't kind of deviate from the fact that it's just a multiplayer game, but he didn't go on into the fact that it was Factions at all. So we're not getting Factions 2. We're getting this other piece of content, more or less. In the world
it does
of
leave
The
it
Last of
open.
Us. Dude,
Leaves it open for the whole team to show all their good ideas as they come to fruition. And it doesn't lock it down as having to be Factions, necessarily. Do we have a date for The Last of Us Season 2?
No. So it hasn't been announced. So. No. They just announced and revealed that they've signed for Season 2. And the other part to take away from this is that Neil said there will not be... So their Season 2 is so big... Part 2, the game Part 2 is so big that it requires 2 seasons. So... after season 2, 3, that should technically wrap up Part 2. If we do not have a Part 3 for The Last of Us, there will not be a 4th season.
They're not going to push forward in terms of the show.
No, because you know what Neil stated is that he doesn't want to do a Lord... sorry, I was going to say Lord of the Rings. Dude, House of the Dragon. Why I'm going blank. Game of Thrones.
Oh, Game of Thrones.
He doesn't want to do that Game of Thrones scenario of, okay, it's not finished. We're just going to plow through it and then just completely botch the end.
Yeah, just ruin the entire last season.
Dude,
I'm still hurt about that.
me too. Man, we powered through those so good. And then all of a sudden, yeah, you get to that final season. The first couple episodes were pretty decent, but sure didn't end very well. But it's just one of those things. So Neil set themselves up to be in a certain position, but Neil said that he's on the outside more or less as a producer looking in and kind of giving feedback, and that's it. But he's really excited. Of course he is, and so is the rest of us. But now it's The Last of Us for how long, right? Can they keep this game going? Well, The Last of Us, a lot of people are diving back into Factions right now just because they're hungry for something. And we haven't had The Last of Us game in like 2 years. Dude, I've been long and completed that game. So I'm looking for more,
Yeah.
and I'm getting hungry. I'm starving.
I'm wondering if there's going to be a standalone expansion. They don't do that very often anymore. You don't see that. I'm thinking of Fear was the last one I bought.
Yeah. No, we had Left Behind as DLC for part 1, and that was great. It was fantastic. But they keep coming. I wonder, you know what, the biggest thing I'm questioning, we are getting the remake for PC right now, which is out like next week, week after. So are we going to get a remake of part 2?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought.
Right? Because Last of Us Part 2 was a PS4 game, not a PS5 game.
It has not so far been remastered.
Exactly. Not yet. Part 1's been remastered like a dozen times. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. You can get that in Skyrim everywhere. So, Scott, let's move on to Epic Games from Wesley LeBlanc, as they are ordered to pay $245 million in refunds to Fortnite players tricked into unwanted charges.
Oh, that's a no small mistake there.
Not at all. Fortnite developer Epic Games has been ordered to pay $245 million in refunds to players by the Federal Trade Commission. This follows a ruling by the FTC that Epic Games, specifically Fortnite, utilized a confusing button configuration in-game to essentially trick players into making unwanted purchases, as reported by Games Radar. As a result, Epic Games must issue refunds to some Fortnite players totaling $245 million. What?
Oh, man.
How?
This is all bad design on a storefront? This is awful.
I don't understand how that works. You clicked the button. You said buy. But you bet.
Yeah.
How'd you get tricked into it? Like, you don't see Tim Sweeney there going, hey, hit this button. Hey, this is the button you need to hit. It's you just volunteered to hit the button and buy it. Like,
I'm thinking of Zelda in Ocarina of Time. There's a character, Kapora Gabora. And every time he meets you at the beginning of the game, he gives you a big, long dialogue. What happens is everybody presses A. They just mash A to get past.
Just skip it.
Well, at the end, he asks you, would you like me to repeat that? A is yes. So if you're mashing A, you're going to be there for a while. That's kind of what this reminds me of. Like, oh, whoops, you went too fast there.
Fortnite's counterintuitive, inconsistent, and confusing button configuration led players to incur unwanted charges based on the press of a single button. The FTC press release reads, according to Games Radar, quote, the company also made it easy for children to make purchases while playing Fortnite without requiring any parental consent, end quote. Scott, Epic Games has made an absolute ton of money on Fortnite. It's one of the legendary games in our industry that's have hit a rise with Battle Royale, right? The funny part is, dude, Fortnite was never intended to be a Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Right? They had...
And its Battle Royale was adapted from PUBG. Almost a 1-to-1.
Yep. And then PUBG Corp was ticked, tried suing Epic, and Epic was like, what are you doing? You can't do that. We just like your game. And we like the game mode. We think it's great.
You can't trademark a game genre.
No, right? And that's what essentially has gone on now. We're with Epic just taking over the whole Battle Royale scene. Obviously, Warzone is now a big contender when it comes to that, and so is Apex, relatively so. But yeah, Epic Games just made an absolute fortune off of it. And they still continue to this day. Both my kids just bought the Battle Pass, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
it was just like, Dad,
still on.
I'm like, oh man, yep, never ends. They say it's actually it's better now than, it kind of reminds them kicking back to like season 1 and 2, where they're kicking it back to OG feel, right? And people are loving that. So, and then we just heard rumblings of a first person mode coming too. Fortnite, unstoppable, even with paying out $245 million, they will still continue to climb.
I wonder how much of a percentage do you think 245 million is to their entire profits? Like a point.
Yeah,
1%.
I was gonna say we'd be lucky if it was 5%. It's just a drop in the bucket, right? Probably at this point, dude. They make a killing off this game, and you know what? Good on them for figuring out the formula, because it was Fortnite Save the World was the game itself, right? You were supposed to help save the world from these zombies, fortify these towers and stuff, and all of a sudden now they're like, this is tanking, like really, really bad. It was not doing well whatsoever. what if we take PUBG's formula and we flip it into our game, allow building, and then you have a battle royale in Fortnite? And it just skyrocketed to everybody's radar, right? We saw the rise of PUBG with their numbers and just kept climbing. And each week you hear how more numbers are playing, more people are playing, more people are playing. And then Fortnite came around, and then you saw the shift, and then the rise of Fortnite and the downfall of Paragon. That's a whole other story, Scott.
I'm still mad about Save the World not being free.
Dude,
I thought it was supposed to go free in 2018,
yeah.
and I don't even think that was the first time it was out.
No.
And although it did bug out one time, I was able to play it for free. I have one Fortnite achievement, I believe.
There you go, dude. Save the World was cool. My kids and I were playing it. We had a good time back in the day. Then we went to Paragon, and the Paragon died. My kids continued on playing Fortnite. Fortnite's an incredible game, actually. Yeah, like the building is not. I'm not up to speed on that, man.
No, the building is. I have to play no build mode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're old, Scott. So
I admit it now.
Welcome to being old, buddy.
Yeah, I can't Mozart myself on a touch screen to do that building so fast. That's beyond me.
Let's get into Wesley LeBlanc over at Game Informer once again. Tells us some more about Ghostwire Tokyo. Launches on Xbox next month with new Spider's Thread update. Bethesda Softworks and Tango Gameworks have revealed that last year's PlayStation 5 console exclusive, Ghostwire Tokyo, will come to Xbox next month. Plus, it will launch on the platform with a new content update hitting the game for everyone. More specifically, Ghostwire Tokyo will hit Xbox Series X and S on April 12th, alongside the, quote, the new Spider's Thread update, which will allow us to go live on every other platform where the game is playable too. This update brings the new Spider's Thread game mode to Ghostwire Tokyo, as well as extended story cutscenes, quality of life improvements, new enemies and skills, and more. Scott, how excited are you for this one?
I was very curious to get hands on this game until I discovered it was a PlayStation exclusive at the time. So I'm really happy to get my hands on it now, and it's a bit of a running joke actually in the crew here that somehow I get all the PlayStation games because I've been out of the loop for so long now. I have to catch up, I guess. I'm happy with it.
Well, it's not a bad thing, right? It's funny how it's kind of worked out in your favor in the end.
Well,
Scott,
I could join. I got to play Days Gone just in time to get no sequel. That's unfortunate.
Yep, unfortunate.
Although Horizon still looking pretty good.
Dude, Horizon. You just need a cave at this point and just get a PS5. Like just join us over here.
I would have to take.
It's a ton of fun.
I would have to take a good month of catch up, I think.
Oh man, dude, we just talked about it the other day. Valheim is coming to Xbox now. We got some other details. Oh, there it is. I was like, what happened here? That's what it is. Valheim on PlayStation is not currently in the pipeline. Michael Hardens over at PSU has this to say. Iron Gate Studios has revealed it has no plans currently to bring Valheim to PlayStation consoles, with the studio only looking at Xbox formats right now. Speaking with on the Xbox Expansion Pass podcast, senior developer Jonathan Smars commented, quote, currently we're only looking at the Xbox, but you never know, end quote. Valheim is planned for early access preview on Xbox and was previously available on Steam's early access back in February. Dude, it took the world by storm.
That's for sure. It was like a ginormous phenomenon. Everybody jumped on Valheim. I think
we were there.
Did you play Valheim on PC? I did not. I actually skipped over it entirely somehow. I don't even remember how.
Who did I play with then? Was Andrew on there? It might have been myself. Andrew was there.
Yeah.
And who else joined me? Because I was not alone. I was there with a couple people and we were having a good time. Was Nate there too? It's been a while. But now it's on Xbox. So I've got it. You've got it. My brother's got it. Yo, dude, we'll be jumping in. I hit up Nate the other day too, see if he's going to get it. We'll see if he joins us or not.
Oh, so survival game. I bet you all the Quins are on it.
I was going to say, it won't be just Nate. It'll be Ben too and Joel probably joining us. So we can run
we may have a rival.
Dude,
we have a rival faction.
It's great to see. We'll see. I think if we see the success on Xbox, I don't know why they wouldn't want to put it on PlayStation as well, right? I think there is an opportunity for them. Often what you'll see is they put it on Steam early access, get the release out there, then they get picked up moved on to one of these platforms with an exclusive deal. Maybe there's an exclusive content update or content deal right now with Xbox, just like we saw with Ghostwire Tokyo. Obviously, now that Xbox now owns Bethesda, so that changes things as well. But it's still that opportunity to line up and go elsewhere in other places. And why wouldn't you? When you start to see the decline, Scott, we often see this over time, as we start to see the decline in one area for the game, then they jump to another platform. So then they see another spike, right? They get more people playing and get them back into the game. Keep their game alive, keep the lights on, bud.
And that's how I've been enjoying, just as we just said, all the PlayStation exclusives that launch on a PC. That's where I get it, and I'm a very small part of a wave of interest.
Absolutely. No, I'm excited to jump into Valheim on Xbox, but hopefully we'll see it come over to the world of PlayStation as well. Scott, why don't you take the next one? You're a Castlevania guy.
New Castlevania is possibly hinted at in Konami's trademark filing for Project Zircon. This comes from Michael Hardens at PSU. A new trademark filed by Konami has possibly hinted at its rumored plans to revive the Castlevania franchise. The trademark was applied for last week and published today and is known as Project Zircon. Among the fields included in the trademark for use are software for commercial video game machines. However, most interesting is the fact Zircon is an item found in the Castlevania series, having made its debut in Symphony of the Night. Project Zircon's trademark filing also covers use in arcade machines and other commercial prize-winning game machines, suggesting it may not pertain to a game console project. The trademark filing comes amidst long-running rumors that Castlevania is set to be resurrected by Konami alongside Metal Gear Solid. Let me cross my toes here real quick. And follows on its plans last October to bring back Silent Hill. There's another success for me. Yep. The company is set to drop some major reveals at E3 2023, which will reportedly include a new Castlevania game. Hey, I hope they bring the heat to E3.
Hey, can you imagine the showstopper is just Konami?
Oh.
Nobody would see that one coming, Scott. Right? Like, it's just, oh, wow. Now, good on Konami, hopefully, for making a comeback. I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest highlight here is that they've been so off in their own little part of the world that we've just missed them so much in the gaming space, and now they're starting to make that turnaround, right? Like Bloomberg team,
be such a ginormous. Were they not one of the pioneers for video gaming franchises as a whole?
Absolutely were, right? And then they went dormant, especially after the whole Kojima thing in Konami. But now they're starting to put their foot back in the water over here in our space. And, we get Silent Hill now from Bloober Team. And then we're getting hopefully some more Castlevania stuff. Rumors there's been spinning forever about this whole Metal Gear thing. So fingers are crossed that we are kind of getting somewhere now in the future. Some of these games are coming back. And I really want... I love Metal Gear Solid 3. It's my favorite game of all time. But I kind of want a remake of the first one.
Yeah. That's where I'm at too. 3 would, I think, hands on. 3 has to be the best one. It's hard to make that decision though, because everybody has their own favorite. 3 seems to be the big one. Yeah. Number 1 was such a standout to me as a kid because I had it on GameCube, and at the time, that's the only place I was gonna play it.
That's fair. I played it on PlayStation 1. A buddy of mine said, "Hey, take this, and you got to play this game." And that changed everything.
Your life literally went. There was before that day and after that day.
That's right. Yeah. After that, I'm like, I know exactly what I want to do. Just had to figure out how to get here. We landed here though, Scott. Dude, we have a couple games out today. What do we have?
We have Anno 1800 on the PlayStation 5 and the Series X and S consoles, and Dark Pictures Switchback VR on PlayStation VR 2.
That's right. I am currently working on Anno 1800 on console. So look for my review in next week, probably, I would say, by the looks of things.
I am currently jealous.
I'm having a good time. It actually kind of works. I'm impressed. So
we did Anno way back in the day.
That's right. We certainly did. So we have more to talk about. Scott, just like that, our show is up. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us noon at Eastern over on Twitch and YouTube at the official ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, everybody, I'm Drew. That's Scott. We'll see you inside the game.